Good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, sorry. Fergus Dolan here from NALA, the National Adult Literacy Agency. Could everybody turn off their microphones, please? Kathleen and anyone else who hasn't got the mic turned off. Natasha, could you turn off your mics, please? So, yeah, we're very welcome. You're very welcome today to our webinar on taking away the fear of technology. And we're delighted to welcome Finbarr O'Shea. Hi, Finbarr.
How's it going, Fergus? How are you doing? Hi, everybody.
Good, thanks. Finbarr is a literacy and technology tutor with Tipperary ETB. So I'll hand over to you, Finbarr, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Fergus. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I was just looking, it is 1 o'clock. This is afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. And it is lovely to see so many people joining here on this day. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but I'm in Tipperary. It is raining and miserable. So what I'm going to talk about today is the fear of technology amongst our learners, the fear of technology amongst some of our tutors, and how you overcome it. I won't say that you will probably learn anything rocket science here, but you will definitely pick up a few pointers. I presented this at the forum, the national forum there 2 weeks ago in Dublin, the NALA forum, and I think most people picked up something that got a bit out of it. So I hope you do too. If you want, you can turn on your cameras at any stage. I have no problem with that. I would just ask that you keep the microphones off. You can raise your hand at any point on the Zoom. You can raise your hand or whatever, just to, if you want to stop me to ask me any questions, if you want me to go back over anything, and we'll see how it goes. So I will share my screen with you. It's just a very share. So can you see that? You can.
Yep, that's come up, Finbarr. Yeah.
Fergus has given me a thumbs up, so therefore I believe you can all see it. So as Fergus has already said, my name is Finbarr O'Shea. I work with Tipperary ETB as an adult education tutor. I mainly teach technology area. I do level 2s and 3s, QQI, both the QQI way and through the Learn with NALA way. I'll bring that into when I'm talking about as we go on. I've been in this role for about the last 8 years, and previous to that, I worked in the financial world. So technology and computer world would be an area that I would know fairly well. I will not say I'm an expert by no means, but I do know my way around the computer fairly well. So, as again, it's lovely to see so many people here today, and so many people get to know, to see. So, as I said, you're all very welcome. There's a chat function up there at the top. On my screen, it's up at the top, and some screens might be down at the bottom. And just purely to see that you're all still awake, that I haven't nodded you off, or that you haven't just logged on and gone out to sit in the sun or anything. I'm just asking in the chat line, you might let me know, your name will come up automatically, but what part of the country you're coming in from? Are you from Donegal to Cork or to Leitrim? I ask all the question, do you have a fear of technology, or do you come across people with a fear? I'll just give you a few minutes on that. It's just to see what kind of, where everybody is from, and get to know you and get to see what's going on. Because it's very hard to give a webinar. I'm here in the room on my own. I usually have a class in front of me. I have nobody in front of me, and it's like I'm talking to myself a little bit. So Dublin and Dundalk, Lucan, Tipperary ETB, Louise, you're very welcome. You're all very welcome, obviously. Francesca hasn't put in where she's from. Francesca is coming in from Sardinia in Italy. Wow. So this is not just national, it's international. My Italian isn't that good, so I won't be giving it in Italian. From the Kingdom of Kerry, Siobhan, you're very welcome. Nice to see you. Somebody else, Fergus says, I'm not confident with not technology. Well, now, Fergus, today is your day. Deborah from Galway, I see Dublin, they're coming in. Eva is coming in from Dublin. Dublin is coming in, Westmeath, West Cork. So there's a good a wee fear of technology there from Mairead. There's a good bunch of people there coming in from all over. Naz from the United States. Wow. It's lovely that you've joined us. It must be quite early in the morning for you. Naz, whatever part of the States you're coming in from. Again, all very, very welcome. It's lovely to see so many people from all over the world. It's not just in Ireland. It is. And I think fear of technology is not something that just is Irish or English or American. It is everywhere. So it is. Do I have a fear of technology? Not really myself. I don't. I will chance it. I did have a fear the day of the forum, because when I got to the hotel, my laptop would not talk to the overhead projector for a minute. And just for that moment, you kind of go, oh, what do I do next? So yes, we all have a small little bit of a fear of it. So what are the big fears in technology? Now, here are 4 words that have come up in the fear of technology. If you Google the fear of technology, these are the things that are coming up. There has been no study done, well, not that I can find, there has been no study done on the fear of technology or how many people or what percentage of people. I don't have figures like that. But there are certain terms. You have the technophobia, and that is somebody who is completely terrified of technology, computers. They don't want to use them in any way, phones and that. And we do have a lot of people in our groups. I deal with a lot of more elderly people in some of my groups, and I've been teaching smartphones. And the likes of those come in with phones and they're terrified to use them. They don't know what to use them. And of course, the power of artificial intelligence is coming in quite strong, and it's a thing we're hearing about a lot. So there is a fear about that and going forward. As it says there, it's more common in older people than it is in the younger people. I like to consider myself one of the younger people, by the way, just in case. Computer anxiety, it's a concept, an anxiety about computers. Cyberphobia, as it says there, is an abnormal anxiety or fear related to the use of computers. And then logizomanophobia is a fear of computers in general. Now, there are some people who would actually come out in a sweat and to have to use a computer. They would probably have anxiety. They would be completely and utterly in a panic to actually sit down in front of a computer. And some people will come into your class or come into my class or come into a tutor's class, and they will have a major fear. They're afraid. They don't know what to do. They're not sure what to do. And it's our job as tutors to guide them through that fear and to make it a more pleasant experience for them. So you don't have to answer this on a chat.
Yeah, no, it's just for the hours. I'm just saying hours.
Not sure who's coming in there can you all just mute, please, mute your microphones there, please. I'm not asking to answer this question, but it's, what do you think are the factors affecting people to fear technology? What are the big fears that people have? What stops them from going to deal with technology? I would have people coming into my classes, and a lot of them, when they come in starting, they'd say, I've never used a computer, I don't know how to use a computer, I'm terrified, I've never done it, especially the older people, because they haven't grown up in an era of it. One of my first questions I'd say to people is, have you ever used a computer? I go, no, never. I go, okay, did you leave the house this morning? Did you put on your house alarm? Oh, I did. You used the computer. If you drove here in a car that is a modern car, more than likely is computerized. So you use the computer. Did you use your phone this morning? And then, yeah, you've used the computer. So even though we know it's not sitting in front of a laptop and typing a letter, people are using computers an awful lot more than they think they are. Did you use an ATM at the bank? You use the computer. So it's so general, the whole computer world, that it is something that people have from all over and they don't realize. So going from that, these are the big issues people have. Childhood experience of computers. I know when I was in school 30 plus years ago, we had a computer class once a week. It meant absolutely nothing to us. It made no sense to me. It wasn't Word, it wasn't Excel. It was like programming, which was way too advanced. So, not being brought up in a computer age. A lot of people say, I've no interest. And my answer to that is, well, you're in a computer class, you've come to a computer class, you obviously have some bit of an interest. Social cultural factors, some people, it is their social background. They may not have been brought up in an area, they may not have been brought up with electricity, never mind a computer. This is a huge part of it, is the fear of being obsolete in the future. People fear that if they can't keep up with it, they are going to be left behind. And that is one of the big areas that I would work with people. We are being forced, whether we like it or not, through banking, through our shopping, through buying stuff online, we are being forced to go all the time into computers. We have to buy online. You have to go in the banking world, as I said before, for nearly 30 years. The banking world don't want to see their customers coming in. They want you online. They want you using your apps. How can you use an app if you don't have a computer? How do you use an app if you don't have a smartphone? And there is the obsolete side of it. Buying stuff online. You're going to the shops now and we're being directed to the self-service. I personally like it, but for a lot of people, that is a major issue. And then, of course, lack of skills. People, I don't know how to use a computer, and I don't have interest or whatever. And they are the big issues that people would say that they have. Going on from that, what are people's biggest fears or concerns about using technology? If you think of it, what stops people from using technology? Their fears-wise. And the biggest fears are here in a class. They feel they will look stupid. They will come into a class and they feel that everybody knows more than I do. Not the case. And always, as a tutor, reaffirm that with your learners, that is not the case. If you have a question, no matter how stupid you feel about it, I can guarantee you there's somebody else in the room with the same question. Fear they will do something wrong. And this is something that is another one. My answer to that is no, none of us, I would say comfortably, none of us have the pin number to an atomic bomb. You're not going to set off an atomic bomb if you press a few buttons on a computer. So what? You might lose a file. You might forget to save something. But is it going to end the world for you? Absolutely not. So a computer is only as good as you put what the information you put into it. So when people are starting off and they fear that they're going to do something wrong, no, I will always say, you're not going to do anything wrong. And how do we learn? We learn by our mistakes. Big one for a lot of people is passwords. And I'm sure all of us, passwords is a fear. It brings out a cold sweat in people. What is your password? The experts say we should have a different password for everything. You're not allowed to write it down, because if you write it down, it can be taken. You're not allowed to record it on your phone because it might be copied. You're not allowed. You're supposed to keep it in your brain. If you were to write down all your passwords or keep it in your brain, I'd have serious concerns about your psychiatric care after it. I try and keep my passwords similar. I try and keep parts of them similar. I try and keep the same password for a lot of things. Obviously, things like my banking information, I don't. I have a different one for that. But for a lot of my education work, for a lot of my tutoring work, I keep it different, or try to keep them the same. I'm a lover of cars, and I'm a great person for putting in car makes. So that's what works for me. but passwords are usual. Banking online, as I said, we are being pushed into banking online by the banks. And that is a fear for a lot of people. They're afraid. There's a huge fear about using banking online, a fear, not only a fear of technology, but a cyber fear as well. Wi-Fi, connecting to Wi-Fi, going into a cafe, going into a pub, going into a hotel, and how do I connect to Wi-Fi and things, and will other people know what I'm doing? That's another big issue. I've put in connecting to printers, and I don't mean just printers. I mean connecting to other devices, connected to overhead projectors and stuff like that, USB keys, all that. That's a kind of an area that people are, and then the printers don't work, and how do I work it? That's a thing. How to find out information. People don't know how to search the internet properly, or effectively, should I say. And the fear, of course, a big one for a lot of people is the fear of being hacked or identity theft. So they're the big fears that I get in my groups when they come in. That is the main areas that they have, that their big issues are. So what do I do with people that makes it anyway different from somebody else? Well, I probably don't do an awful lot different from other people, but I do little bits. On the first day, when a new learner comes into my room, I do my best not to sit them in front of a laptop. I don't want them sitting in front of a laptop. Why? Because I don't know these people. I don't know what they might be terrified of. They may have had an experience before. They may have gone to a computer class before and everything went pear-shaped for them. And now all of a sudden, here they are back into, and it looks the same thing. As well as that, it looks very formal in a classroom on your first day. I have it written in there, if it was basic swimming classes, would you get the swimmers to jump into the deep end the first day? No, you wouldn't, because you'd have nobody the second day. So I try and keep people away from the laptop the first day. I encourage them always to bring their own laptops. I always say to people, bring your laptop, your smartphone, your tablet, your iPad, whatever it is at home you have, bring it with you. Because get your familiarity for your own laptop, your own device. And that works with people. Be careful with your language. Be careful when you're talking about tablets and smartphones. As I did have an experience whereby a lady came in once the following week, and I told them to bring in your tablets if you had your tablets, and she actually brought in medical tablets, not a computer tablet. So be careful. And that was a message to myself to say, Finbarr, you need to think of the lingo. There is a huge amount of lingo and terms that we use in the computer world that if you spoke to another person, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. Upload, download, all the save things. People would not know what you're talking about. So be careful when you're telling people your smartphone, your iPad, your laptop, whatever it is. A lot of people get their devices from people. They might have got a laptop or an iPad from their son or their daughter. They may have got it whatever, a family member that no longer uses it, and they've handed it to their mother or father or whoever and said, here, there you go. It'll be useful. It's as useful as having a fork in the desert, because unless the granny knows what to do with it, it's not useful. So I always ask people where they got it. And if they haven't a device, by all means, your centre will provide you a device. You should provide, whether it's an iPad or whether it's a computer, whether it's a laptop, but where your teaching would have devices and provide them and make them familiar with it. Always ask the learners what they would like to be able to do. There is no point in teaching people something they have no interest in. I had a group this morning and we were talking about the farming online, and it's very relevant to them, which I'm showing them. But if I was to go off and show them shopping online, these guys that I had this morning, they have no interest in shopping online, but they need to know the farming online. So you tailor the course, your computer course, to what your learners want. Now, I know there are QQIs, level 2s and level 3s that you follow. And the way I would look at that is, when people are saying, oh, I want to be able to shop online, I'd like to be able to use my banking online, I'd like to be able to search the internet. Put all the ideas up on a board, throw them up as you're talking to them, and get the ideas. And then marry those ideas with a QQI level 2 or level 3 course. And say, well, if you do all these, and we do a small little bit more maybe on the health and safety around computers, you now have built a QQI level 3 program that is there. Computer skills, internet skills, and there is just maybe, and they will get a certificate at the end of it. And for some people, that is massive. Some people have no interest in getting a certificate because they're not looking for re-employment. But for some people, it is huge. I had a gentleman recently at a graduation ceremony in Tipperary where he came up to me afterwards and said that was the first time in his life he had ever got a certificate for something that he had learned. He had never ever done it before. And as tutors, that's on us. We got them the certificate, we worked with them. So take a bow. As I said there, ask them, have they used a computer today? Most of them will say no, but as I've said already, the house alarm, the microwave oven, the phone they've used. Be careful with your language and the jargon that you're going to use. So ease the learner in very gently on the first day in class. Have a chat about computers, and they will open up to you. One of the things I always start with is I give out my learners a handout with the keyboard as is there. If you're going to show them computers, basically, start with the very basics. There's the keyboard. For most of us, the keyboard is there. We know what to use. We know how to use what the buttons are. For a lot of people, they haven't a clue. They've never used one. They don't know what the shift button means, what does caps lock means, what does num lock mean. All these things. They see the symbols on top, the asterisk, the dollar sign, the euro sign, the percentage. How do they do that? How do they get those? So I always start with a sheet and get them to write on it. Let them write the bits and pieces. I also give them a sheet with some pictures, as in the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, and just so that they know, get into the terminology very, very early. With the keyboard, I find the way I look at it is, if I was to sit into an airplane, into a 747, into the cockpit, and if I was told fly this plane, I wouldn't have a clue, because I don't know what a cockpit looks like. I don't know the buttons. The same here. To a lesser extent, there's your keyboard. Most people haven't a clue what it is or how to use it. I point out each keyboard key and I show them what it does. I do an example. I show them up on my overhead screen. If you press the shift and hold down the letter G, you'll get a capital G. If you press the caps locks and type, you get all capitals. And I show them this. At this, they still have not typed a word. But I'm showing them what it is and what it does. I don't show people function keys for the simple reason that overcomplicates it. Keep it very simple, very basic, one step at a time. There's a super book there. It's a super resource. I use it quite a lot. It's Digital Matters by Nala. There's the link to it on the screen there. This is a book that Nala have brought out. It is for basic computers, a guide to technology for adults, improving their literacy, numeracy, and digital skills. It does a lot to do with smartphones and teaching smartphones, but it also transfers over into the jargon. There's a few very good pages all about computer jargon. I use it quite a lot. It is a brilliant, brilliant resource. So I would say to you, to Nala, to Fergus online here, and to Neil, make sure that that's in print all the time. It is a really, really, really good book. I stand over 100%. Well, it's very, very good. Well done to Nala on that, actually. So it is. So now you have the people on. Oh yes, with that resource, I do give it out to the learners, and we use it. We kind of use it in class on and off. So now we're almost ready for the off. We're ready nearly to start typing. So I get them to open up the likes of a Word document. So go in, so get them to turn on, you spend the day showing them how to turn on the computer and how to turn off the computer, the proper way to switch off the computer. I then go in and I would get them to open up the likes of Word, WordPad, maybe email, somewhere or notes, somewhere there is a blank page on their screen. I get them to type their name, type their address. I don't ask for captions. I don't ask for spaces. I would ask for spaces, but I don't ask for captions. I don't get bogged down in commas or full stops or apostrophes. Just get them to, all I want them to do is to kind of get to know where are the different keys. Get them to write down on a line then after a while. Go down, write your name and your address, and write your address as it should be, line by line. And praise them as you go along and walk. I walk around and very much walk around the class and look over their shoulder. A lot of computer classes are. And I would say to them, you're doing very, very well and you're doing things. And then they'd be asking about the red lines and the blue lines, and one is grammar and one is spelling, and explain to them about what that means. Then I would ask them to write something about themselves. I be very, very conscious here. Always when you are asking somebody to write something. So I might say, write something about yourself. My name is Finbarr O'Shea. I live in Tipperary. I have 3 children. But some people, that might be a huge issue. Be very careful. So what I would always do is have something prepared. I would throw up the likes of an old poem. The poems that we learned in school, the daffodils, Lake Isle of Innisfree, those kind of poems, the older people, and I don't mean this just older people, that they like those poems. They can relate to those poems and they bring back very special memories to people. And I would say, and I would have that on my board, on my overhead screen behind them. And I'd say, try and type that. Try and see how you get on writing that. And try and do it line by line. If they do 3 or 4 lines, brilliant. If they do 10 lines, fantastic. And it's just to encourage them very slowly and praise them as they go along. And it's just a case of getting them to familiarize themselves with the keyboard and the idea of it brings, as I say, it brings back the memories of school. So I try and pick some of the nicer stuff, the prose, or something funny. Maybe even something from your local newspaper. But again, be very careful in that it's non-political or any of those kind of things. So that's personally, I like the old poems, Wordsworth, W.B. Yeats, all that kind of stuff. Always give them plenty of time for questions. You are going to be stopped and asked questions 100 times, at least, in your classes. What do I do? How do I do? How do I get down onto the next line? How do I do this? How do I get that? Encourage the learners. And if somebody, when you're going around, asks you a question about something, I always throw that out and go, Mary has asked me, how do I do this? Because more than likely, somebody else is asking the same question, but they might not be confident enough to ask the question. If you're asking somebody to write something down, have it prepared as a piece of poem. Also, be very, 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 very mindful of people's literacy levels. Some people, it may not be their strong point. And you have to be careful. So that is one of the great ideas of having your piece of prose or your poem ready. All they're doing is copying it. Of course, if they want to write something themselves or where they went on holiday, what they did today is Thursday, it is such a date, they can do that. But be very careful of literacy levels. And if somebody does spell something wrong and it has the red line or the blue line underneath it, just explain it's incorrect and that the dictionary will fix it. And for some people that's huge because they haven't had that before in school. The dictionary, there was no dictionary in school, there was, but you had to go look for it. You had to go look through it, whereas the autocorrect will do that for them. I know myself, as a person who's not a great speller, I find it very, very handy. After a while, when they're confident enough at Word, when you're doing all that with them, a lot of them will say, I want to be able to do emails and I want to send emails. and then you go, they'd say, okay, what email or what do you have? And most people nowadays would have Gmail or might have Hotmail or Yahoo or Outlook. If a person has their own email address to start, it's a great start. A lot of learners won't. So I would always set up an email address for them. Now, I know in Tipperary ETB, all our learners get their own ETB account. So they have their own ETB email, so they can use while they're using in an ETB class. If learners don't have an email and they don't have access to emails, I would say open or have a Gmail learners account opened. You can set those up yourself, put in your own name and a learner account 1, learner account 2. Now, you can't have too many because Gmail will stop you doing it. But you could have a few accounts like that. The whole idea is we get into it. I prefer if learners don't use their own personal emails in class, because the way I teach email is I get people to learn. I send them emails, they send replies back to me. And then in the class, I pair people off and I say, I want you to send an email to John. I want John to send an email to Patrick. I want Patrick to Mary, Mary to Tommy. And basically work and send and reply and get them to start kind of sending and replying to emails. And then after a while, we'll do reply all and all that. And don't overcomplicate it with attachments to start off with. So keep it simple, get them sending and replying. The reason I don't like them using their own personal emails in class is we have no control outside of class if they start sending emails to each other. And some people may have been very private about that. So if you have an ETB email, get them to use that. Or a learner's email. For learning, excuse me. I promise it's only water. For learning email, get the learners to email each other in class and get them to reply. A lot of people come into your class, I can get emails, but I don't know how to reply, which came as a bit of a surprise to me when it came first to me, because I couldn't believe it. I was so used to it. I suppose it's like walking. We can walk, but we never thought, how do you actually walk? So it's the same with this, is that you start from the beginning. Also, I use what I call scenario cards. And these are little cards that I have done up myself, and I give them to my learners. And I say to them, there's a scenario A and scenario B. And basically, scenario A might be, I want you to send an email to the shop, the washing machine that you bought a month ago has now broken. Email the shop, and then scenario B is the shop. So I have somebody who is the shopkeeper. They will be receiving the email and they will be replying, and they will be asking, do you have a receipt? What date did you purchase this? What is the make and model? And basically, instead of people just sending, oh, hi Mary, and reply back, hi Mary, hello, and that, it just gives a little bit of a flow to it. And it also shows then the way emails work, and that all the emails are linked on one link, so people can go back on them. Don't overcomplicate it, as I said there, with attachments until the learners are ready. How to send photographs, don't do it until they're ready. One step at a time. It works if you take it slowly. One of the things I would say to you is have patience with your learners, and keep praising them as you go along. So the other part that a lot of people is, how do I find things on the internet? How do I search things on the internet? Again, I always do this by getting the learner to copy what I do on an overhead. I try not to let them search stuff for themselves because I have no control in the class. So I would pick maybe a local business, local hotel, local restaurant, find out what's their opening hours, go on to Google. What's their phone number? What date was the Pope born? What date did Queen Elizabeth die? How to find those? Just very generic searches that people might find, how to use, how to find things, how to interact with Google. I always use Google. I don't use Bing in my classes. Why do I use Google? Because I think it's the most customer friendly and easier and interactive for people. I give out topic cards and quizzes to my learners. And with the quiz, I might have 8 or 10 questions, And like that, it has the kind of the questions. What date was such a thing? What date did Neil Armstrong land on the moon? So you have to go and you have to Google the answer. Find the phone number, find the timetable. The one with the timetable one can be a bit tricky for some people but after a while it's something I'd work in. What time is the next bus? What time are the trains going from Dublin to Wicklow? Where do I go? Stuff like that on it. And it's all I always do it as a bit of fun. I do these quizzes on paper. You could do it through Padlet or Quizlet or any of these things, but I do it on paper. I get them to write down the answer, but they've looked I'm happy that they've looked on the internet. After a while we get people in the what are your own interests? What are your people? What interests people, and get them to start Googling about that. I introduced the likes of YouTube, the RTE Player, and other free sites that people might have interested in. Basic stuff that they would be interested in. YouTube, they all love YouTube. A lot of people, it's a case of they can go in, they can do music, you can do videos. There's so much stuff on YouTube. While you're doing all this and working with your learners and trying things, the Learn with Nala platform has a few very, very good technology courses, internet skills, computer skills, media skills level 3. It's very easy to use, and it gives the learner a whole new experience of a way of learning. It could be both theoretical and practical. So there is a lot of whereby if you're on the likes of a tablet, whereby you're actually swiping down and dragging across answers to questions. There is where you have to type in answers, where bits and pieces like that. And it's the same with you might be using a mouse. You might have to use the finger pad on your tablet, or not your tablet, your laptop. And there, it is a very, very interactive way for people to learn. And it's a whole new experience for people. Again, and Nala haven't asked me to plug their book, their digital skills, or their Learn with Nala. I, as a tutor, really, really enjoy Learn with Nala. It has little parts that I have questions about and queries out, but overall, it's a very, very good tool to use and a very easy tool to use. Big issue with people is cybersecurity. They want to shop online, they want to do things online, but they're afraid. They're afraid of security, they're afraid of being hacked, they're afraid to use their credit card. I would always give a good week or 2 or 3 even to people all about security. I would show them what the lock means on a website, that the lock means that they have passed the stringent criteria to have that lock on a website. So if there is a lock on a website and it says, or it says HTTPS, so the S means security. It means it's a secure website. You are secure. You are covered and bonded by using your credit card on that page. Whereas one that is not secure, I would not be giving my information. I would talk to people about giving their personal details. And I would keep this very light-hearted. Don't frighten them. How to trust the website, how to know what's fake news, what's misinformation, and what's disinformation. I would have a chat with them about that. And that has been information that people are guided on, and they're guided the wrong way by people. We all know what fake news is, but mis and disinformation is where people are guided wrongly by somebody, or they are knowingly guided by somebody with misinformation. Talk about the fears, show them the likes of the text messages that we all get or the emails we get, showing them, would you trust these? You've won the lottery in Nigeria. Does that mean that you've won it? So they want you to send you money so that they can put money into your credit card. Do you reply with your credit card? No. Why not? And have that discussion with your learners. If something is too good, if an item is for sale, it's too good, or if you've won the lottery in Nigeria and you have a beneficiary in Africa that's after leaving you millions. Stop, think, check. And some of the frauds that are out there that come through, some of them look very, very legitimate. But just show them even to the idea of websites, what looks like a kind of a dodgy website. If it looks anyway, if it's spelled wrong. I had one the other day, and it was from supposedly On Post, and it was on ONPOST. So it wasn't On Post, it was On Post. So be careful. Just show them things like that, and use personal experiences. A lot of learners as well wanted to know about social media. They hear all about it. Some of them say they want to know, what is Facebook, what is Twitter, what's Instagram, what do I do? Like, I hear my kids, I hear my grandkids on this. How do I do it? I always explain to people, by putting a post on social media, you are putting it out there for the world to see. So I would show people the likes of Facebook, I would show people the likes of Twitter, how to make sure that your profile is safe, how to make sure your own information is safe, that you're not opening your whole profile to everybody in the whole world, that the photographs you put up, that it's only your friends can see it. Remember that if a poster replied to a comment on social media, you're publishing it on the internet. On a social media site, it is difficult to tell the difference between good, reliable, and news. We all know that, fake and misleading information. So tell people, I would talk to people about their whole social media thing and that. And again, I try and keep away from it with some people with classes, because again, some people may not understand. By putting up a post of, I'm at a restaurant, I'm at a hotel, or I'm on my holidays on the beach in the Seychelles, wouldn't that be lovely? That by doing that, you're telling people your house is free at home, there's nobody in it, and security-wise, and your own personal security and your children. So I would always be very, very cautious with people on that, just so that people keeping everybody safe. There's some of the references of where I've got some of my stuff here today, and basically that is the full of my presentation to you today on technology, the fears of technology. I hope some of it came across to you, that you picked up some items that may be of use to you. There are things there that maybe I have said things and you've said, no, I wouldn't do it that way. Keep your classes personal. I've always said to people, and keep it personal to your learners. They've come into a class to learn something, and it is your job as a tutor to teach them that in a nice environment and pleasant environment. That's all I can say about it, really, and enjoy what you do. I think we're going to open, Fergus is there, I see, and we are going to open up the floor. If anybody has questions or queries, you can either type them in the chat, or if you so wish to unmute yourself and come on. I think that's the way it works here. Fergus, back to you.
Thanks a million, Finbarr. Thanks. Plenty of tips and ideas and suggestions there. I hope people picked up some things that they can use. I can see a lot of thumbs up, agreed with certain things that either Finbarr or others said. If you have any questions, please either type it in or unmute. Just unmute and ask Finbarr.
I see somebody there, Siobhan O'Keefe has asked, could you put up the last slide? Siobhan, I've just changed it there. They were just some of the references of bits and pieces that I used. The big one I would say is the Digital Matters link with NALA. Digital Matter, or nala.ie/publications/digital matters. That is a very, very worthwhile resource. The Learn with Nala, learn.nala.ie again is the other one that I use quite a lot.
Finbarr, there's something Patrick McIntyre put up on the chat. Just some learners have too many email accounts and can't close them. That can also be a problem for learners or for anyone.
Yeah, it is very difficult, Patrick, to close an email address. It is that. But there is a way to do there is a way that learners, I've had it before where somebody had the old aircom.net email, and there is a way whereby you can go into the settings and get the email forward onto and have a new email like Gmail, and all the old emails will come across. If people want to close down emails, it's done through the settings on their email. So it is. But yeah, if somebody has opened too many email accounts, yeah, that's a bit of an issue. I would say, here we go again. Open a new account. The way I open a new account as well, people, is as well, and I never said it, is passwords. If I'm in a class and I'm setting up a group, I would always make the password. If I'm in Nina, for example, and it's year 2024, my group password for that class will be Nina 2024. All my learners will have that as their password. Why? Because the following week they're coming in and they're saying, I can't remember my password. It's all Nina 24. When I then go, I'm here in Borrisoleigh this morning, Borrisoleigh 24, Thurles 24, Newport's comes to Great, Newport's 24, and it makes it much easier as a tutor.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea for the class. You know, could hold up the class if they didn't remember. Is there any other questions there or any other points for Louise is saying having an internet terminology glossary for an IT class can be very useful. Yeah, good point, Louise.
Louise, on that book, the Digital Matters book, there is a fantastic 2 or 3 pages. I think it's page 11, 12, and 13, if I'm not mistaken, or around there, all terminology and glossary. It is really, really, really good. I would say get your hands on Digital Matters. Fergus, I'd say you're going to be sending out Digital Matters all over the country. Patrick, you have raised your hand. You can.
Hi, Finbarr. Can you hear me?
I can.
I was just wondering, from your own experience, have you used any assistive technology in the classroom? For example, there's also people who have reading difficulties or visual difficulties, or, you mentioned there the digital markers, which obviously deals with the smartphone and stuff like that. So would you have encouraged people to use password managers and maybe, the text-to-speech features on phones and things like that?
I have used the text-to-speech. I have used that with people, all right. Not a huge amount, to be very honest. And the likes of in Microsoft Word, I would have used whereby people can actually, would show them whereby you can actually dictate what you want to type. Obviously, you have to tell them to speak slowly and all that. But I have used only small bits. I haven't used a huge amount of it. I have never had anybody, and I've never had anyone to use any of the ones where people need it for sight purposes. I've never had any of my learners like that. But that's all I have really used it, Patrick, is, to be honest.
Myself, I would have used Read Aloud as a plugin.
I've used it, and actually in the Learn with Nala,
yes,
you can get it. It's all read out for you. You can get it, and it's actually again very, very useful. Until you have 10 people in the class and they keep pressing the microphone, and you have 10 versions of the same thing happening at the same time. And it's like a chorus.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for interacting.
Claire Mackin saying there that Digital Matters is definitely a great resource. I use it all the time. If anyone wants to order Digital Matters, they can go onto the NALA website and order how many you want, 10 or 20 or whatever, and NALA will post them out to you for free. So, and there are other resources there like Legends and other things that we now have some free resources, and whatever you can see which ones are free, and then we'll post them out to you free. Okay.
Yeah, in fairness, I will give great credit to Nala for your resources. We've some super work done in the last few years, Fergus. It makes our jobs as tutors a lot easier.
Unfortunately, I can't take any credit for the resources or anything like that.
So if you pass it on, So, Patrick, you've raised your hand, have you? Or
sorry, so are all those resources in the same location, Fergus?
Yeah, as far as I know, I'll send you a link afterwards, Patrick. Yeah, as far as I know, if you go into resources, and I can't remember the exact link now, but yeah, they are.
No, that's okay. No, it's just trying to find them. Yeah. Okay.
It's in Nala, and there's going under the tutor resources.
Yeah.
I know my way around the NALA website fairly good at this stage. There are a tutor section and all the resources, Patrick, are in underneath that. And most of them you can actually download and show them. Like I use the Digital Matters. I put it up on the board. We use an overhead projector, and I go through it like that with people, as well as having it in paper.
That's great. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Okay, well, I think that's it, Finbarr. It just leaves it to me. Oh, Siobhan O'Keefe, I'll pass that on to my colleagues. I see you've ordered resources. Sometimes it takes a while. We don't send them from NALA. We use a company who sends out for us. So I'll pass that on to my colleagues. Just leaves it to me to say thanks so much for Finbarr for putting a real effort into the presentation. There are lots of tips, lots of ideas, lots of suggestions. I hope you picked up a few things that you can use. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Plenty of people give thumbs up for Finbarr. So I hope you enjoyed and got something. As I said, we've a last webinar on tomorrow, creating classroom resources using ChatGPT. It's a colleague of Finbarr, Scott Wilson from Tipperary ETB as well. So he'll be
And Scott is an amazing guy. You will really, really enjoy it. So it's an amazing topic as well.
Now that one tomorrow starts earlier. It's from 12 to 1, by the way, if anyone's interested. You can still go on to the NALA website and book into that. Okay, listen, Finbarr, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you for joining. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.